All right, it is noon over here at Eaton Academy, and we are live today with Mallory Opelia, who is not only, she wears many hats around Eaton Academy, but today's topic we're talking about movement and learning. And so we've appropriately titled this New Year's New Moves because we're still in the new calendar year. And so, Mallory, we're going to be talking through today some of your experience teaching different learners and how important movement is to the brain as students do learn. So, if you want to just kind of introduce and kind of talk about mention the different roles that you serve in the school, and then we can kind of get into today's topic.
Well, my name is Mallory Opelia. This is my 13th year here teaching at Eaton. Many of the hats that Betsy said I have. I'm one of the PE teachers here for middle school and upper school. In the upper school, I'm athletic director, and I'm the alumni relations coordinator. So many jobs here. But like I said, I think because of those jobs, I have a really good knowing, especially about this topic. I'm really lucky to work at Eaton because movement and learning go hand in hand. The traditional sit and, as they call it, sit and get style of learning is really not the best thing for students. The most effective way to go about it is to focus on the body and the brain simultaneously. And studies have shown, I just have notes here, research shows that standing and moving around while you're studying or learning, taking movement has numerous benefits to your body, brain, and even memories and academic performance. So the neat thing here is at Eaton we really focus on, you'll see numerous kids walking around for movement breaks if they need it. In the classrooms, everything's very dynamic. We're standing up, moving around. You'll see some with alternative seating, some students on ball chairs, because again, the more you move, the better. And it's funny, it's like this proven fact. Once you start walking, you automatically almost start talking. It's just kind of goes hand in hand with one another. So it's just kind of this weird thing. So it's just, we really embrace that here because it improves alertness and everything. And you'll see we have the upper school is a recharge room for students if they need a movement break. The lower school is integrated, various medicine balls, stepping stones, the middle school Mere Common Space. It's just, I love it. It's just part of the community here. So
that's great. Wonderful. So with movement and learning, talk about a little bit about the mind, body, soul connection. Especially that's the philosophy that I know you've worked really hard to bring to our movement programs and work with the other physical education teachers.
Yes. Here, it's as a PE teacher, I have a great avenue to teach through movement, obviously. But with that, we basically, our main thing in the gym is using movement to hit their mind, body, and soul as students. And everything we do, that's what we gear it towards. Whether it's we're playing the basketball unit or in volleyball, we really try to make that connection because basically my job here is to make them a better learner in the classroom and beyond. And one way we kind of sum that up was this mind, body, soul connection. So we say things like, how can physical activity impact your mind? Or how can that help it? And the kids were able to make connections like, oh, after some physical activity, I can focus better in my next class. I feel a little bit more clear. I don't feel as frustrated. All things pertaining to their mind and their overall wellness. And in their body, what we really focus on is increasing their heart rate. Because when you do that, we don't hold them to, the typical, you have to run a mile in this amount of time because the way we look at everything is individualized. So one way you can challenge all of them individually is through their heart rate. And they can each have their maximum heart rates, and that's what they're trying to hit. And with that, we talk about when you hit your heart rate, more oxygen goes through your body. When you get more oxygen, it goes through your muscles, it hits your brain, all these various benefits. And the students really seem to grab onto that. And in regards to their soul, we have another PE is a great avenue to teach the social skills. And again, just make them overall just better students in and out of the classroom. And we have great ways to talk about giving back to your community and working on sportsmanship and working on teamwork and kindness and empathy and understanding. Things right now in the world that I believe we need more than ever. And it's just a really cool place through movement in the PE setting to teach that mind, body, soul connection. It gives them something to work towards. And we have great discussions and we talk about other things like grit and hard work and determination. And it's just, like I said, the movement aspect of class really, really helps. And one book that kind of got me like started on it really kind of is the Spark book by John Rady. It's a great book to talk about, again, this is where like, the increase in heart rate, the mind, body, soul kind of connection almost came from, but it's a great resource for people. So if you're interested in more about movement and how it affects the brain, and this is a really great book, a really great resource for you. So.
Great, and we'll link that in the comments too after our presentation today. Wonderful. So, talk a little bit about, I know as a part of your role is athletic director. So, and athletics are a topic that come up, especially when, families have a lot of different choices for activities and not a lot of time. So talk a little bit about movement with athletics.
So one thing that kind of caught my attention was, I don't know if everybody out there has seen it, I know we all have, I forgot who it's for, but it's a commercial in regards to students giving like their retirement speech at age like 10. And they have like a pretend like media circuit and they're like, I'm retiring for the game, I'm overworked. And that just like really hit me as athletic director because unfortunately that's what's happening to youth athletics nowadays. Sport specialization, so they're specializing in one sport early on and they're getting overworked, overtired, injuries, right, at 10, 11, 12 that, I think it was like a 15-year-old having like Tommy John surgery or even younger because like the overthrowing for baseball. It just really kind of opened my eyes to that. And the cool thing about Eaton Athletics is our athletics program is open to all students in the 6th through 12th grade. We do have other small sports for our 1st through 4th graders. Anybody that wants to play can, it's a non-cut policy. And it directly reflects Eaton's mission and it directly reflects the mind, body, soul. Like everything is interwoven together. And our athletes really focus on, yes, challenging them appropriately with their skill level, but also like sportsmanship, teamwork, that understanding, empathy, that realize that all students come from various parts and we're able to meet everyone in the middle because sports has a true impact, can have a very positive impact on, that's what impacted me into my job, my careers, were my coaches in sport and teams growing up. And I just think it's really cool how Eaton really focuses on the importance of everyone having the opportunity. And our motto is for the athlete and all of us. So I think that sums it up pretty neat. So.
Yeah, that's so important. And there's so many in outside of Eaton, obviously there's a multitude of opportunities. Mm-hmm. So if there's families who have kids in public schools, there's community-based programs, there's travel programs, there's really intense things. But just being a part of it is, of a team or an activity to get that movement going is so important.
Yes, because the more avenues you can find through your community, not with like sport specialization, because that's when the injuries and overuse really happen, but being able to play softball, being able to play basketball and volleyball, because then you're also involved in more gross motor movements, various parts of the body. So then that's when the injuries are less, because when you're playing all these different sports, that's better for the all-around athlete, period. With that, I know I'm like showing off books, but I'm telling you, it's where this one by Tom Ferry, it's called Game On. This is talks about youth sports in America today and how it's really important to, again, not with the sport specialization, but to offer various sports throughout. It talks about, I know a lot of people nowadays want to gear their kids, to play in the NCAA, to play in the pros. But when it comes down to it, I was just looking up some facts yesterday and it said from going from high school to NCAA, it's like 3.5% people will make it for basketball and 7.1% for football. But that's not to diminish hopes, but it's just kind of like in the end game of it is not to get a NCAA scholarship or to get into the pros. It's to, again, come back to why athletics and why movement is so important, because it helps with everything, that mind-body-soul connection can have everything. It's great for their social skills, it's great for their all-around bodies, their minds, and the health nowadays especially. Instead of getting them sitting in front of the playing video games, getting them out and moving is probably much better for them. So.
Absolutely. And then, a question of when we talk about community-based sports, and we talk about, obviously Eaton, we serve a population of students who are different learners. So when you're engaging with community coaches and things like that, and you might have a different learner, a child with a difference, whether it's physical or emotional or a learning difference, what are some ways that you would recommend people to have those conversations?
With that, sometimes the difficult conversations I've had to have is they think that the learning difference might shut off when it goes to sports. Mm-hmm. Well, it doesn't. So a student who might have spatial awareness issues on a soccer field, on a big soccer field, they're going to have trouble with knowing where the midfield stands, where the defender stands, where the forward. So actually, again, the more visuals, I know a lot of us coaches out there, the more cones, the more poly spots, the more that direct and explicit instruction, actually going and sometimes moving them to specific areas would be the best thing. Repeating directions, doing it verbally on the whiteboard or your sketch pad, verbal, sorry, I said that twice, verbal, kind of like physically moving them, and visual, that's what I meant. Visual is going to be the best thing for them. And here's the thing, if more coaches start teaching like that, it's not only going to serve the different learner, but it's going to help everyone, all of them, because it's just that extra reinforcement, that extra emphasis, and it's beneficial to all students, and all players. So
that's great. So for families that might have some kids that are resistant to participating in athletics, maybe they haven't had a good experience, or they're just nervous and have anxiety about trying new things. What are some coaching tips that you have for parents to try to encourage their kids to get involved in something and try something new?
With that, I would say there's various levels of competition out there. So there are, you have your competitive travel teams, but the rec leagues for, your local communities, trying to get them into theirs, like the non-competitive, maybe partnering up with a buddy or a friend, or to go together to try. Any intramural or club sports is probably the best thing to try out first. And then just to have small successes. That's the thing. When I have a student that comes in, because PE class can be the best part of someone's day and the worst part of someone's day. Because merely of a lot of kids feeling embarrassed, maybe having bad experiences, and maybe being too competitive, but really just taking a step back and just having them one thing at a time. Just dip a toe out there, whether that's just small, or maybe you as a parent or a guardian or older sister, older, taking them outside and just throwing the football around, having small success there, and then, why don't we try this? And just keep breaking it down, because I think another thing about sports and athletics and movement, the more success they feel there, it's all about self-esteem, the more confident they may be able to step out of that box and try. So that's what we really do. Don't just throw everything at once, baby steps for sure.
That's a really great strategy. And Christine, who's joining us, also mentioned that there's a lot of different local gyms that are forming that have adaptive sports, that have different things for people to try out. I know I've seen a local ninja gym, things like that. So kind of different non-traditional, of the typical sports that have been out there, of the soccer and baseball and things like that, to try to, get kids interested.
Yeah, I know there's all those Airtime, and I think there's a Defy place out by me in Commerce, and it's that ninja kind of warrior kind of thing. We actually do a kind of unit here based on that with the fitness. The kids love it. They love the trampolines. They love the obstacles. Again, when I go back to basically with the movement to help, especially with exercise, it's just focusing on their independent heart rate. So figuring out their maximum heart rate, it's 223 minus your age. And I know that might be right, and just having them target that because they can challenge themselves. And some kids can reach their heart rate really quickly. Some kids, you know, with the physical activity, hit it right away. And with the more practice, and they can see, oh, well, I hit that then. Okay, I need to keep pushing myself at that level. And then they can see, oh, it's taking me a little bit longer to get there, so I need to push myself a little more. And again, that goes back to the individualized heart rate. And trust me, you can get your heart rate up bouncing on the trampoline and going diving through the ball pit and everything else. So absolutely.
Great. What are some ways that families might be able to do things together too? Like on the weekends, you know, everyone's time is at such a premium, but trying to infuse, you know, I know a lot of our families have not only eaten, but sometimes there's outside appointments and things like that that really cut into your time, and it's trying to find the time together. So, you know, what are some ways that, you know, a family might be able to kind of infuse some more movement together?
The best thing some of my family's kind of talking about is obviously, like, I think too, a big thing parents have to fight nowadays is the technology piece. Whether that's them on their phones, and I think everyone to be like better role models and ourselves. I think everyone needs to take movement family breaks. I would agree, or that'd be like putting the phone down, just going out for a walk before dinner or after dinner. I know the weather kind of stinks right now, so we're all probably in a little funk. But even doing things like going bowling together, and when it gets nice out, putt-putt, like those little things, because again, that whatever movement piece they have, that's quality time spent together, and again, you're working on all those mind, body, soul aspects. So I say I know us as adults too, I find myself in my phone sometimes way too much, realizing that I need to take a break. Oh, I can go on the treadmill downstairs, or I can, go take a walk, go to the gym. And I think if, the parents, the more you're the role models, and the more you can just set that earlier on, I think the better, because the kids will follow you. And I just hear great stories about going to the gym together, or a big thing is participating in 5K runs together, right? Going walking, so again, the sooner you can figure that in, like I said, I know we all have crazy schedules and we're all busy, but I love the idea of just having some quality family time. That's just taking a walk, or I love putt-putt, like going outside, just kind of getting up together. So
great, some great ideas. Thank you so much. Thank you to those that have been watching. If you have any further questions, feel free to put them in the comments, and we'll answer them. But Mallory, I want to thank you for taking the time today to share your expertise with everyone. And any final thoughts?
I just want to say thank you, everyone, for those watching. I really appreciate it. For any newbies out there that might get interested in Eaton, our next we have lunch tours coming up. So our next lunch tour is February 11th at noon. Feel free to stop by. And any other questions, anything about Eaton Period, athletics, movement, PE, alumni, hope we have some alumni out there watching. Hi! Feel free to contact me via email, and we're always here for you. So thank you for listening, and thank you, Betsy, for helping out with this, because I was a nervous wreck, but I really appreciate it.
You rocked it. It was great.
Thank you. It was fun. So
all right, everyone have a great day. And again, if you have any additional questions, comments, or resources you want to share with other people, we're hoping that these really become a nice way to build community around, parenting and the community. So thanks, Christine, for being so active in this chat as well, and for all of your contributions. And we will talk to everyone soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.